Well, how the hell did you get out of my own meeting?
You disappeared.
How the hell did you get me out of my own meeting?
I don't know. He's like, what happened to you, man? Thought you went on vacation.
I look over and all of a sudden it's gone. Everything else is running fine. My internet's everything else. All my internet's going. All my pages are fine. Just Zoom just.
The feds watching, man. Fuck with Peter.
I know they watching. Hey, alphabet babies, how you doing?
Yeah. They cut your shit off as soon as you get into that good shit. They say, cut that motherfucker off now.
Yo, where was I at when y'all lost me?
Yep, that's where they want you to be at. Where was he at? I don't know. Okay, you lost about 4 or 5 minutes. So you got to go about 4 minutes back, 5 minutes back.
Oh, my God.
You've gone for a long time. Hey, what's the name of that book again? Was it Secure what?
Secure Transactions for the Practitioner.
Secure Transactions for the Practitioner. All right. You.
The Frank Pirator. All right. I'm just finna. I'll go back to the good shit. Yeah, all right. It looked like it had still kept recording, I think. Did you guys get any kind of notification that it wasn't recording? Because it would have said the meeting is not recording.
No, my recording light went out.
Okay. All right, so you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna start from the top. I'm gonna go through it again. I don't give a fuck if I gotta stay up here and fucking do this shit till dawn. These motherfuckers ain't stopping me. All right. Subsection 1-101. Short title. Subsection A. This act may be cited as the Uniform Commercial Code. B. This article may be cited as Uniform Commercial Code General Provisions. 102. Scope of the article. The article applies to a transaction of the extent that it is governed by another article of the Uniform Commercial Code. 103. Construction of the Uniform Commercial Code to promote its purposes, policies, and applicability of the supplemental principles of law. Subsection A. The Uniform Commercial Code must be liberally construed and applied to promote its underlying purposes and policies, which are 1. To simplify, clarify, and modernize the law governing commercial transactions. 2. To permit the continued expansion of commercial practices through custom usage and agreement of the parties. And 3. To make uniform the law among the various jurisdictions. Subsection B. Unless displaced by the particular provisions of the Uniform Commercial Code, the principles of law and equity, including the law merchant law relative to the capacity to contract, principal and agent, estoppel, fraud, misrepresentation, duress, coercion, mistake, bankruptcy, and other validating or invalidating cause supplement, or validating or invalidating cause supplement its provisions. 104. Construction against implied repeal. I'm wondering why this is highlighted. The Uniform Commercial Code being a general act intended as unified coverage to its subject matter, no part of it shall be deemed impliedly repealed by subsequent legislation if such construction can reasonably be avoided. Severability, subsection 105. If any provision or clause of the Uniform Commercial Code or its application to any person or circumstances held invalid, the invalidity does not affect other provisions or applications of the Uniform Commercial Code which can be given effect without the invalid provision or application, and to this end the provisions of the Uniform Commercial Code are severable. Subsection 1-106. Use of singular and plural gender. In the Uniform Commercial Code, unless statutory context otherwise requires, 1, words in the singular number include the plural, and those in the plural include the singular. And 2, words of any gender also refer to any other gender. Subsection 1-107, section captions. Section captions are part of the Uniform Commercial Code. Section 1-108, relation to the electronic signatures in Global and National Commerce Act. This article modifies limits and supersedes the Federal Electronic Signatures in Global and National Commerce Act, 15 U.S.C., Section 7001, et sequit, except that nothing in this article modifies, limits, or supersedes Section 7001, subsection C of that act or authorizes electronic delivery of any of the notices described in Section 7003, subsection B of that act. Part 2, general definitions and principles of interpretation. Everybody still with me?
Yeah.
Subsection 1-201, general definitions. Subsection A, unless the context otherwise requires, words or phrases defined in this section or in the additional definitions contained in other articles of the Uniform Commercial Code that apply to particular articles or parts thereof have the meaning stated. Subsection B, subject to definitions contained in other articles of the Uniform Commercial Code that apply to the particular articles or parts thereof. 1, action, in the sense of a judicial proceeding, includes recoupment, counterclaim, set-off, suit in equity, and any other proceedings in which the rights are determined. 2, aggrieved party means a party entitled to pursue a remedy. 3, agreement, as distinguished from contract, means the bargain of the parties in fact as found in their language or inferred from other circumstances, including course of performance, course of dealing, or usage of trade as provided in Section 1-303. 4, bank means a person engaged in the business of banking and includes a savings bank, savings and loan association, credit union, and a trust company. I'll say it for the motherfuckers watching. And a trust company. 5, bearer means a person in possession of a negotiable instrument, document, or title, or certified security that is payable to the bearer or endorsed in blank. 6, bill of lading means a document evidencing the receipt of goods for shipment issued by a person engaged in the business of transporting or forwarding goods. 7, branch includes a separately incorporated foreign branch of a bank. 8, burden of establishing. A fact means the burden of persuading the trier of the fact that the existence of the fact is more probable than the non-existence. 9, buyer in ordinary course of business means a person that buys goods in good faith without knowledge that the sale violates the rights of another person in the goods and the ordinary course from a person other than a pawnbroker in the business of selling goods of that kind. A person buys goods in the ordinary course if the sale to the person comports with the usual or customary practices in the kind of business in which the seller is engaged, or with the seller's own usual or customary practices. A person that sells oil, gas, or other minerals at the wellhead or mine head is a person in the business of selling goods of that kind. A buyer in ordinary course of business may buy for cash, by exchange of other property, or on secured or unsecured credit, and may acquire goods or documents of title under a pre-existing contract for sale. Only a buyer that takes possession of the goods or has a right to recover the goods from the seller under Article 2 may be a buyer in ordinary course of business. Buyer in ordinary course of business does not include a person that acquires goods in a transfer, in bulk, or as a security for or in total or partial satisfaction of a money debt. 10. Conspicuous. With reference to a term, means so written, displayed, or presented that a reasonable person may, against which it is to operate, ought to have noticed it. I'm going to say that again. Wow, how did I fuck that up that bad? Conspicuous, with reference to a term, means so written, displayed, or presented that a reasonable person against which it ought to operate should have noticed it. Whether a term is conspicuous or not is a decision for the court. Conspicuous terms include the following. A heading in capitals equal to or greater than in the size surrounding the text, or in contrasting type, font, or color to the surrounding text of the same or lesser size, and B, language in the body of a record or display in larger type than the surrounding text, or in contrasting type, font, or color to the surrounding text of the same size, or set off from surrounding text of the same size by symbols or other marks that call attention to the language. 11. Consumer means an individual who enters into a transaction primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. 12. Contract, as distinguished from agreement, means the total legal obligation that results from the parties' agreement as determined by the Uniform Commercial Code as supplemented by any other applicable laws. 13. Creditor includes a general creditor, a secured creditor, a lien creditor, and any representative of creditors, including an assignee for the benefit of creditors, a trustee in bankruptcy, a receiver in equity, and an executor or administrator of an insolvent debtor's or assigner's estate. 14. Defendant includes a person in the position of defendant in the counterclaim, cross-claim, or third-party claim. 15. Delivery, with respect to an instrument, document of title, or chattel paper, means voluntary transfer of possession. 16. Document of title includes bill of lading, dock warrant, dock receipt, warehouse receipt, or order for the delivery of goods, and also any other document which, in the regular course of business or financing, is treated as adequately evidencing that the person in possession of it is entitled to receive, hold, and dispose of the document and the goods it covers. To be a document of title, a document must purport to be issued by or addressed to a bailee and purport to cover goods in the bailee's possession, which are either identified or fungible portions of an identified mass. Fault means a default, breach, or wrongful act or omission. Fungible goods means A, goods which any unit by nature or usage of trade is the equivalent of any other like unit, or B, goods that by agreement are treated as equivalent. 19. Genuine means free of forgery or counterfeiting. 20. Good faith, except as otherwise provided in Article 5, means honesty in fact and the observance of reasonable commercial standard of fair dealing. 21. Holder means A, the person in possession of a negotiable instrument that is payable either to the bearer or to an identified person that is the person in possession, or B, the person in possession of a document of title if the goods are deliverable either to bearer or to the order of the person in possession. 22. Insolvency proceeding, including an assignment for the benefit of creditors or other proceedings intended to liquidate or rehabilitate the estate of the persons involved. I like that one. We're going to read that one again. Insolvency proceeding includes an assignment for the benefit of creditors or other proceedings intended to liquidate or rehabilitate the estate of the person involved. 23. Insolvent means A, having generally ceased to pay debts in the ordinary course of business other than as a result of bona fide dispute, B, being unable to pay debts as they become due, or C, being insolvent within the meaning of federal bankruptcy law, which is basically what we're in. So 24, money means the medium of exchange currently authorized or adopted by a domestic or foreign government. The term includes monetary unit of account established by an intergovernmental organization or by agreement between two or more countries. 25, organization means the person other than an individual. 26, party, as distinguished from third party, means a person that has engaged in a transaction or made an agreement subject to the Uniform Commercial Code. 27, person means an individual, corporation, business, trust, estate, trust, partnership, limited liability company, association, joint venture, government, governmental subdivision, agency, or instrumentality, public corporation, or any other legal commercial entity. Funny fact, my uncle's in court right now on a foreclosure and a driving without a license. He read that definition in court. The judge struck it, reread a different definition, and told the jury that that's what they have to go by.
Wow.
True story.
Wow.
28. Present value means the amount of a date certain of one or more sums payable in the future, discounted to the date certain by use of either an interest rate specified by the parties, if that rate is not manifestly unreasonable at the time the transaction is entered into, or if an interest rate is not so specified, a commercially reasonable rate that takes into account the facts and circumstances at the time the transaction is entered into. Let me see if I can scroll up and get that all at the same time. Present value means the amount as of a date certain of one or more sums payable in the future, discounted to the date certain by use of either an interest rate specified by the parties, if that rate is not manifestly unreasonable at the time the transaction is entered into, or if the interest rate is not so specified, a commercially reasonable rate that takes into account the facts and circumstances at the time the transaction is entered into. Oh, okay, I see. All right. 29, purchase means taking by sale, lease, discount, negotiation, mortgage, pledge, lien, security interest, issue or reissue gift, or any other voluntary transaction creating an interest in property. 30, purchaser means a person that takes by purchase. 31, record means information that is inscribed on a tangible medium or that is stored in an electronic or other medium and is retrievable in perceivable form. 32, remedy. So why don't they just say, as long as we can read it, it's okay? I mean, 32, remedy means a remedial right to which an aggrieved party is entitled with or without resort to a tribunal. 33, representative means a person empowered to act for another, including an agent, an officer of a corporation or association, and a trustee, executor, or administrator of an estate. You want me to read that again?
No, that's what I told them at court. I was authorized representative. They ain't want to hear none of that. They asked me to leave.
Oh no, they don't like that. They don't like that. They want you to pull the judge behind closed doors and talk about that shit is what they want you to do. They want you to go up to the clerk and say, "Hey, can I speak to the judge in the judge's chambers?" And then you present them like that. But
in private, yeah, I know now.
34, right, includes remedy. That's a good one. That's very simple. And just, I'm going to have to bring that into court. 35, security interest means an interest in the personal property or fixtures which secures payment or performance of an obligation. Security interest includes any interest of a consignor and a buyer of accounts, chattel paper, a payment, intangible, or a promissory note in a transaction that is subject to Article 9. Security interest does not include the special property interest of a buyer of goods on identification of those goods to a contract for sale under Section 2-505. The right of a seller or leaser of goods under Article 2 or 2A retain or acquire possession of the goods is not a security interest, but a seller or lessor may acquire a security interest by complying with Article 9. The retention or reservation of title by a seller of goods notwithstanding shipment or delivery to the buyer under Section 2-401 is limited in effect to a reservation of a security interest. Whether a transaction in the form of a lease creates a security interest is determined pursuant to Section 1-203. 36. Send in connection with a writing record or notice means A, to deposit in the mail or deliver for transmission by any other usual means of communication with postage or cost of transmission provided for and properly addressed, and in the case of an instrument to an address specified thereon or otherwise agreed, or if there be none to any address reasonable under the circumstances, or B, in any other way to cause to be received any record or notice within the time it would have arrived if properly sent. Okay. In any other way to cause to be received by any record or notice within the time it would have arrived if properly sent. So there's your protection for tax per Q2 if they want to start fucking with that. It's covered under the Uniform Commercial Code right there. Subsection 36. 37. Sign includes using any symbol executed or adopted with present intention to adopt or accept in writing. 38. State means a state of the United States, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the United States Virgin Islands, or any territory or insular possession subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. 39. Surety includes a guarantor or other secondary obligor. 40. Term means a portion of an agreement that relates to a particular matter. I like 39. 41. Unauthorized signature means a signature made without actual, implied, or apparent authority. The term includes forgery. 42. Warehouse receipt means a receipt issued by a person engaged in the business of storing goods for hire. 43. Writing includes printing, typewriting, or any other intentional reduction to tangible form. Written has a corresponding meaning. Finally, through subsection 1-201. All right, so subsection 1-202. Notice, knowledge. A, subject to subsection F, a person has notice of a fact if the person has 1, has actual knowledge of it, 2, has received a notice or notification of it, or 3, from all the facts and circumstances known to the person at the time in question, has a reason to know that it exists. B, knowledge means actual knowledge. Knows has a corresponding meaning. C, discover, learn, or words similar import refer to knowledge rather than to reason to know. D, a person notifies or gives a notice or notification to another person by taking such steps as may reasonably be required to inform the other person in ordinary course, whether or not the other person actually comes to know of it. Excuse me. E, subject to subsection F, a person receives a notice or a notification when 1, it comes to that person's attention, or 2, it's duly delivered in a form reasonable under the circumstances at the place of business through which the contract was made, or at another location held out by the person as the place for receipt of such communications. F. Notice, knowledge, or a notice or notification received by an organization is effective for a particular transaction from the time it is brought to the attention of the individual conducting that transaction, and in any event from the time it would have been brought to the individual's attention if the organization had exercised due diligence. An organization exercises due diligence if it maintains reasonable routines for communicating significant information to the person conducting the transactions, and there is reasonable compliance with the routines. Due diligence does not require an individual acting for the organization to communicate information unless communication is part of the individual's regular duties or the individual has reason to know of the transaction and that the transaction would be materially affected by the information. Subsection 1-203. Lease distinguished from security interest. A. Whether a transaction in the form of a lease creates a lease or security interest is determined by the fact of each case. Subsection B. A transaction in the form of a lease creates a security interest if the consideration that the lessee is to pay the lessor for the right to possession and the use of goods is an obligation for the term of the lease and is not subject to termination by the lessee, and 1, if the original term of the lease is equal to or greater than the remaining economic life of the goods. 2, the lessee is bound to renew the lease for the remaining economic life of the goods or is bound to become the owner of the goods. 3, the lessee has an option to renew the lease for the remaining economic life of the goods for no additional consideration or for nominal additional consideration upon compliance with the lease agreement. Or 4, the lessee has an option to become the owner of the goods for no additional consideration or for nominal additional consideration upon compliance with the lease agreement. All of that rewatching Jupiter Ascending really helped. Subsection C. A transaction in the form of a lease does not create a security interest merely because 1, the present value of the consideration the lessee is obligated to pay the lessor for the right to possession and the use of the goods is substantially equal to or is greater than the fair market value of the goods at the time the lessee entered into. 2, the lessee assumes risk of loss of the goods. 3, the lessee agrees to pay, with respect to the goods, taxes, insurance, filing, recording, registration fees, or service for maintenance costs. 4, the lessee has an option to renew the lease or become the owner of the goods. 5, the lessee has an option to renew the lease for a fixed rent that is equal to or greater than the reasonably predictable fair market rent for the use of the goods for the term of the renewal at the time of the option it is to be performed. Or 6, the lessee has an option to become the owner of the goods for a fixed price that is equal to or greater than the reasonably predictable fair market value of the goods at the time the option is to be performed. Whew. Oh yeah, it's 8 o'clock. All right, we doing good. D, additional consideration is nominal if it is less than the lessee's reasonably predictable cost of performing under the lease agreement if the option is not exercised. Additional consideration is not nominal if 1, the option to renew the lease is granted to the lessee, the rent is stated to be the fair market rent for the use of the goods for the term of the renewal determined at the time the option is to be performed. Or 2, when the option to become the owner of the goods is granted to the lessee, the price is stated to be the fair market value of the goods determined at the time the option is to be performed. So this would play directly into the value of our trusts and how to calculate such. E, the remaining economic life of the goods and reasonably predictable fair market value, fair market rent, fair market value, or cost performing under the lease agreement must be determined with reference to the facts and circumstances at the time the transaction is entered into. Subsection 1-204. Value. Except as otherwise provided in Articles 3, 4, and 5, and 6, a person gives value for rights if the person acquires them. 1. In return for a binding commitment to extend credit or for the extension of immediately available credit, whether or not drawn upon and whether or not a chargeback is provided for in the event of difficulties in collection. 2. As security for or in total partial satisfaction of a pre-existing claim. 3. By accepting delivery under a pre-existing contract for purchase, or 4. In return for any consideration sufficient to support a simple contract. Subsection 1-205. Reasonable time and seasonableness. A. Whether a time for taking an action required by the Uniform Commercial Code is reasonable depends on the nature, purpose, and the circumstances of the action. B. An action is taken seasonably if it is taken at or within the time agreed, or if no time is agreed, at or within reasonable time. Subsection 1-206. Presumptions. Whenever the Uniform Commercial Code, I almost said unicorn. Whenever the Uniform Commercial Code creates a presumption with respect to a fact or provides that a fact is presumed, the trier of a fact must find the existence of that fact unless and until evidence is introduced that supports a finding of its non-existence. Part 3. Territorial applicability and general rules. Subsection 1-301. Territorial applicability, parties, power to choose applicable law. Subsection A. In this section, 1. Domestic transaction means a transaction other than an international transaction. 2. International transaction means a transaction that bears a reasonable relation to a country other than the United States. Notice how it just said United States. No of America.
Right.
B. This section applies to a transaction to the extent that it is governed by another article of the Uniform Commercial Code. C. Except as otherwise provided in this section, 1. As an agreement by parties to a domestic transaction that any or all of their rights and obligations are to be determined by the law of this state or of another state is effective, whether or not the transaction bears a relation to the state designated, and 2, an agreement by parties to an international transaction that any or all of their rights and obligations are to be determined by the law of this state or of another state or country is effective, whether or not the transaction bears a relation to the state or country designated. So let's see if we can break that down. Except otherwise, hang on. Go up a little further. This section applies to a transaction to the extent that it is governed by another article of the Uniform Commercial Code. C. Except as otherwise provided in this section, an agreement by parties to a domestic transaction that any or all of their rights and obligations are to be determined by law of this state or of another state is effective, whether or not the transaction bears a relation to the state designated, and an agreement by the parties to an international transaction. Okay, all right. No matter what, state supersedes. D. In the absence of an agreement effective under subsection C, and except as provided in subsection E and G, the rights and obligations of the parties are determined by the law that would be selected by application of the state's conflict of law's principles. E. If one of the parties to a transaction is a consumer, the following rules apply. So how do you not be a consumer? Gee, I wonder. 1. An agreement referred to in subsection C is not effective unless the transaction bears a reasonable relation to the state or country designated. 2. Application of the law of the state or country determined pursuant to subsection C or D may not deprive the consumer of the protection of any rule of law governing a matter within the scope of this section, which both is protective of consumers and may not be varied by agreement. A, of the state or country of which the consumer principally resides, unless subparagraph B applies, or B, if the transaction is a sale of goods of the state or country in which the consumer both makes the contract and takes delivery of those goods, in such state or country is not, if such state or country is not the state or country in which the consumer principally resides. F, an agreement otherwise effective under subsection C is not effective to the extent that application of the law of the state or country designated would be contrary to a fundamental policy of the state or country whose law would govern the absence of the agreement under subsection D. G, to the extent that Uniform Commercial Code governs a transaction, if one of the following provisions of the Uniform Commercial Code specifies the applicable law, that provision governs a contrary agreement is effective only to the extent permitted by the law specified. 1. Section 2-402, 2. Sections 2A-105 and 2A-106, 3. Section 4-102, 4. Section 4A-507, 5. Section 5-116, 6. Section 6-103, 7. Section 8-110, and 8. Sections 9-301 through 9-307. 1-302, variation by agreement. A, except as otherwise provided in subsection B or elsewhere in the Uniform Commercial Code, the effective provisions of the Uniform Commercial Code may be varied by agreement. The obligations of good faith. B, the obligations of good faith, diligence, reasonableness, and care prescribed by the Uniform Commercial Code may not be disclaimed by agreement. The parties by agreement may determine the standards by which the performance of those obligations is to be measured if those standards are not manifestly unreasonable. Whether the Uniform Commercial Code requires an action to be taken within a reasonable time, a time that is not manifestly unreasonable may be fixed by agreement. C, the presence in certain provisions of the Uniform Commercial Code of the phrase "unless otherwise agreed" or words of similar import does not imply the effect of other provisions may not be varied by agreement under this section. Subsection 1-303, course of performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade. Subsection A, a course of performance is a sequence of conduct between the parties to a particular transaction that exists if 1. The agreement of the parties with respect to the transaction involves repeated occasions for performance by the party, and 2. The other party, with knowledge of the nature of the performance and opportunity for objection to it, accepts the performance or acquiesces it in without objection. B, a course of dealing is a sequence of conduct concerning previous transactions between the parties to a particular transaction that is fairly to be regarded as establishing a common basis of understanding for interpreting their expressions and other conduct. C, for the chronic that I smoked that just gave me cotton mouth. A usage of trade is any practice or method of dealing having such regularity of observance in a place, vocation, or trade as to justify an expectation that it will be observed with respect to the transaction in question. The existence and scope of such a usage must be proved as facts. If it is established that such a usage is embodied in a trade code or similar record, the interpretation of the record is a question of law. I gotta switch up what I'm doing here. Bring my mouse over here. There we go. It's a little better. A little more chill. Did I read that one already? Okay, all right. D, a course of performance or course of dealing between the parties or usage of trade in the vocation or trade in which they are engaged, or of which they are or should be aware is relevant in ascertaining the meaning of the parties' agreement, may give particular meaning to specific terms of the agreement, and may supplement or qualify the terms of the agreement. A usage of trade applicable in the place of which part of the performance under the agreement is to occur may be so utilized as to that part of the performance as well. All right. E, except as otherwise provided in subsection F, the express terms of an agreement and any applicable course of performance, course of dealing, or usage of trade must be construed, whenever reasonable, as consistent with each other. If such construction is unreasonable, 1, express terms prevail over course of performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade, and 2, course of performance prevails over course of dealing and usage of trade, and 3, course of dealing prevails over usage of trade. F, subject to section 2-209, a course of performance is relevant to show a waiver or modification of any term inconsistent with the course of performance. G, evidence of a relevant usage of trade offered by one party is not admissible unless that party has given the other party notice that the court finds sufficient to prevent unfair surprise to the other party. Oh, that's no fun. Right? It's like, why can't I get them? Oh, snap. What's up, Jesus? Jesus? I don't know which one it is. Jesus. I don't know which one you're using today. 1/304, obligation of good faith. Every contract or duty within the Uniform Commercial Code imposes an obligation of good faith in its performance and enforcement. 1-305, remedies to be liberally administered. Ooh. That means they should be just, here you go, here's your remedy, motherfuckers. The remedies provided by the Uniform Commercial Code must be liberally administered to the end that the aggrieved party may be put in as good a position as if the other party had fully performed, but neither consequential or special damages nor penal damages may be had except as specifically provided in the Uniform Commercial Code or by other rules of law. Somebody please screenshot that. Because that's a lovely little chunk of information right there. B, any right, actually, I'm going to read that again. The remedies provided by the Uniform Commercial Code must be liberally administered to the end that the aggrieved party may be put in as good a position as if the other party had fully performed, but neither consequential or special damages nor penal damages may be had except as specifically provided in the Uniform Commercial Code or by other rule of law. So this is how they're getting in trouble for what they've done. We can't really come at them for damages. We can get recoupment but we can't take it beyond the recoupment unless we want to attack their bond for treason, in which case I'm all about Peto's idea. Grab 12 men in a row. Let's go. I got a few I can name off. I got a few I can name off.
You know what? I got a few with a few business cards. I got over 20 business cards. But nobody seemed to be who they were at the time of the dealing now.
Right? All right, B. Any right or obligation declared by the Uniform Commercial Code is enforceable by action unless the provision declaring it specifies a different and limited effect. Subsection 1-306. waiver, or renunciation of a claim of right after breach. A claim of right arising out of an alleged breach may be discharged in whole or in part without consideration by agreement of the aggrieved party in an authenticated record. A claim of right arising out of an alleged breach may be discharged in whole or in part without consideration by agreement of the aggrieved party in an authenticated record. I like that. Subsection 1-307, prima facie evidence by third-party documents. A document in due form purporting to be a bill of lading, policy, or certificate of insurance, official weighers or inspector certificate, consular invoice, or any other document authorized or required by the contract to be issued by third party is prima facie evidence of its own authenticity and genuineness and of the facts stated in the document by the third party. 1-308, performance or acceptance under the reservation of rights. A party that with explicit reservation of rights performs or promises performance or assets to performance in a manner demanded or offered by the other party and does not thereby prejudice the rights reserved. Such words without prejudice, under protest, or the like are sufficient. B, subsection A, does not apply to an accord and satisfaction. One -309. What we got? 814. Option to accelerate at will. A term providing that one party or that party's successor in interest may accelerate payment or performance or require collateral or additional collateral at will, or when the party deems itself insecure, or words of similar import, means that the party has power to do so only if that party in good faith believes that the prospect of payment or performance is impaired. The burden of establishing lack of good faith is on the party against which the power has been exercised. Subsection 1-310, subordinated obligations. An obligation may be issued as subordinated to performance of another obligation of the person obligated, or a creditor may subordinate its right to performance of an obligation by agreement with either the person obligated or another creditor of the person obligated. Subordination does not create a security interest as against either the common debtor or subordinated creditor. All right, and that's the end of subsection 1. Article 1 is done. This is where we would put our notes, I guess. Sorry, I probably should.
Where can I find that at? You say you're gonna put it in the file?
I'm gonna post it up on my page. I'm gonna post it in the group page. I'm gonna post it in all the 3 or 4 secured party groups that we're in. That is if they'll let me post anything. I haven't been able to post anything all day.
Right.
Not a damn thing anywhere.
Right.
Let me see what's going on here. How many people we got in here? We got 4 of us. All right, so I'm gonna take a break for a quick minute. Let my voice chill out. We'll play some music. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Actually, I won't play some music. Let's just talk about
it. It's hard for me to talk about it if I ain't got it in front of me.
You can't see it on your screen?
No, I see. It went. It came up back to it. What you got back on?
Oh, snap. Hang on. Oh, I wish y'all would have said something earlier.
I thought you'd intentionally not put it back up there because it might have been the thing that messed you up before. I didn't know. That's why I ain't say nothing.
You guys got it now? You should be able to see it now, right?
It should be popping up soon on mine. Mine's a little slow.
Think it recorded like that?
What's that?
You think it recorded just without your screen up?
I think it did.
Dang it.
That's all right. Everybody's going to get a copy of this, so I ain't tripping this time.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll just skip past. We'll go to Article 2. I'll start Article 2 here in a minute. I just want to take a break, kind of give my voice a minute, catch my breath.
Yeah, John. I did not know how long he was going, but I got fire engaged at 8:30.
You breaking up on me, brother. What was you saying?
Okay, yeah, I didn't know how long you were going. I knew it started at 7, but I had a prior engagement at 8:30.
Yeah, you could drop it. This is.
Did you hear me that time?
Yeah, I got you. The way I'm doing this pretty much is just I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna go as long as I can go until I can't go no more. And if anybody wants to ride with me, you're welcome to ride with me. If if you gotta go, you gotta go. I ain't tripping.
Okay, no, I just wanted to let you know I ain't want to pop off on you and not say anything.
Much appreciated.
I
Much
sure
appreciated,
appreciate
brother.
what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. That means a lot. That really does.
Yep.
Because, I mean, I listened to Pito's story, and it was like I was watching myself up on TV. I'm not even going to lie. As far as how he got into it, I went through the redemption books, me and my uncle, and we went through sovereign filing solutions. We filed our papers that way because we needed it right then, because he was getting ready to go through a foreclosure, so we wanted to get it protected.
Uh-huh.
Didn't matter how, just needed to get protected. And it's a solid trust, man. It's got some tweaking that I'm gonna do, but it's good. I'll put it like this: it's good enough that when I brought my documents in, I turned myself in on a child support warrant, and I brought my documents in with me, and right at the top was my legal notice of demand. If you're in the book club group, the Estate Trust Book Club, you'll see it's the back banner. That's the first page. And all the guards, when I turned myself in, the 3 guards that brought it in had to read it because they had to go through the forms and see what was there in order to allow it into the jail. That was step 1.
Okay.
Step 2 was when I got in there, I told the lawyer of the day, I said, listen, I just got an interview for a job yesterday, and I just got the job. And I've been homeless for like the last year, and I haven't been able to find work for the last 5 because I got injured and nobody will hire me. Facts, all facts. I said, if he tries to hold me and I don't show up to work for my first day of work, I'm going to lose my job. Then what? You just going to hold me in jail because I can't pay? And he's like, all right, hang on. So he goes, He goes up and he says everything that I said to the judge. And the judge is like, all right, well, do you have anything to pay today? And I was like, I got $70 and I got to use that for gas to get back and forth to work, but you're welcome to it. And then he said something else about, did I have anything to pay towards the principal or anything? I said, no, I ain't got nothing. And he wanted to release me right off, but they had to wait for, no, he wanted to keep me 24 hours. But the bailiff and the two guards that were there, which were the same guards that I handed my paperwork to earlier that day, or that night before, the day before, they stepped in and they were like, oh, well, the bail bondsman's not going to be around. And he's not here now, but he was standing in the next room. He was standing in the next room because he was doing paperwork for another case. The judge didn't know it though, apparently. So he ended up letting me go with the state posting bail. Didn't even put me out on own recognizance. Put it with the state posting bail. And he was pissed because he wanted to keep me, and and he wanted me to pay something. He wanted something out of me, and he got nothing. And it was the way that I did it. I played it perfect. I waited until I had an interview, and I knew that I had a job, something on paper, because I was working under the table the whole time, making pretty good money. And I don't give a fuck if they see this now because I'm fucking secure. It's a fuck you. So I knew that if I went in with a story like that they would have to let me out right off anyway. So what ended up happening was because they read my paperwork, they lied to the fucking judge because they knew that they were fucking personally liable from the second they read my paperwork. Because that first page says that it's a binding contract in admiralty law, and it lists every fucking type of person under what governmental entity, all of it. The second they read that shit, they was fucked. And the fact that it was all on camera, they had to review all that shit on camera. Like my evidence trail is airtight.
Okay.
So when I finally decided to go get recoupment for that, it's going to be on and popping.
You know, I'm gonna tell you a quick story, but I gotta go. I told you I got a ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
They moved my ticket from traffic to administration, and then I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio. It fell up under Ohio Revised Code 46. So I go to Ohio Revised Code 46, and they say that the court got extra money because everything was paid by reparations. You hear what I say?
Say that again. I heard it, but I want to make sure I heard it correctly.
Okay. I got a ticket. So I already did the UCC one. So what happened was they my ticket went from traffic court to administrative court.
Yep.
To administrative court. I didn't pay no bond. I ain't spend up nine. But the whole bill of it is $300. They said they put it up under, excuse me, Ohio Revised Code 46.
You breaking up, brother.
Okay. Under Ohio Revised Code 46, it says that the court would get extra money because everything was pretty much paid for with reparations.
Love it.
So I don't know what state you in, but I'm quite sure reparation codes in there, and they might be hard to find. And you know what I mean? I've never even seen Ohio Revised Code 46 and heard read anything about reparations, but that's what paid for my court proceedings
That's dope.
and all my tickets.
That's
But
dope.
I'm going back after the recoup, man. I got the bond number. I'm trying to. I got the bond number. I just got to go get me some 24, 25 performance bonds, whatever it is, the 273 or 74, and
Yep.
look them over. And I'm gonna hit them with them bonds.
Yep.
Okay, John. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Sign out.
Stay in touch, brother.
Most definitely.
Hey,
Peace.
Seuss, you got any stories, man?
I don't. I'm currently going to court right now. But I haven't had no luck. They're still trying to sentence me. But
Seriously?
yeah, I filed like a 65-page pleading, with my status and all that. And he just doesn't want to hear it. He told me at the beginning he was going to make me appeal. So he's running me through it.
Okay.
I'm kind
Oh,
of
so all right. Oh, hold on. He told you at the beginning he was going to make you appeal?
Yeah, because he said, hey, you need to file he's like, I'm not going to hear anything you say or file. Like he kept locking me up for contempt. It's been pretty crazy. But yeah, I remember him saying that in one of his little speeches way in the beginning that he's going to make me appeal. So he's going to run me through. And he has
You know
been.
what he's doing, right?
What's that?
He's testing you.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Like,
He's fucking.
see, they look at it as a benefit. They look at it as a benefit, right? So the way that the judges look at all this shit, to everything that they do to us is a benefit, right? So
Yeah.
to him, he's showing you tough love. He's like, all right, this motherfucker wants to be a big boy now. He's like, I'm
Right.
gonna make him learn the procedures and find out what being a big boy is.
I think I might have messed up by not noticing the county attorney when I did file my pleading. I think I was supposed to do that, wasn't I? Like send like a certificate of mailing.
Yeah, well, everybody needs to be notified. I whenever I went into court, like on child support shit, I notified people I didn't need to notify.
See, I think that's where I might have messed up because, well, I know that the county attorney's seen it. He's seen my pleading, but then when we got to court, he acted like he didn't see it.
Right.
And then they said he was never noticed, which he's right. I didn't notice him. Like
and that was the whole point. They knew that, and that was.
And then I accepted a plea bargain, right, just to get out of jail because they were trying to hold me in jail. And so I said I'd take the plea. Well, then I got out of jail a week later, and with my dismissal, I also filed I waived my I withdrew my plea, and I said I didn't plea at all. And he said it was up to him whether I could withdraw my plea or not, which I know that is not his decision.
It is not.
No, it's not, right? I was just sitting there in court just steaming.
I would have laughed out loud at his ass. I would have just busted out. I'd be like, ah!
This fucker's already kept me in jail twice on contempt. So I'm like trying to be quiet and be civil, real civil fuckers. But yeah, dude, and you know what's messed up? You want to here's another funny part is the guy is my old prosecuting attorney on an old drug case I had.
Oh.
So now he's a judge, and now I'm like pushing back.
Wait, hold on. He can't be impartial. You can have him removed from the case.
I tried to do that too. He said he had to remove himself, and he wasn't gonna. I don't know if I filed anything.
Thrown out right on that. He's being malicious.
He's fucking nuts,
That's malicious intent.
Yeah, I don't think he's very happy because like he wanted me to go to prison, right? Like the first time. And I never went to prison. I ended up doing 5 years on probation. But I did all their bullshit. I jumped through hoops the whole fucking time because they just were on my ass. But yeah, so he's probably like trying to get – because right now it's they pinned me with distribution because I got pulled over and I had a couple different bags of weed on me. So they're trying to get me with distribution right now. I'm like, what the fuck? And I didn't have no license, but I already put in a bunch of stuff with, like Supreme Court stuff about the right to travel and all that. And I put that into my dismissal too. I'm just, I'm pretty sure I made a rookie mistake somewhere. Probably that certificate of mailing for sure. But yeah, it's pretty fucking jacked up. These fuckers, they don't want to let a nigga go. That's for sure.
They don't want to have to bow is what it is. They scared.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice with them. He's like, you know what I mean? I ain't trying to like be like when I first went to court, you know, they started yelling at me, so I was yelling.
You know what you should do?
I got the county attorney to admit they had no claim. She said it right there on the record.
Have you put?
And he said even if the second, because they brought in another attorney after that little bout. After that lady broke, they brought in some other dude, and now he even said he didn't have a claim, but he didn't have to prove it. And the judge is just going along with whatever this. You know, it's funny when you're in court, you can watch the judge like direct these guys, like they don't even know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, no, seriously. Well, and he's doing the same with you though.
Yeah.
He's doing the same with you, and he's waiting. You just have to bite.
Yeah, I'm coming up short. Right now, he gave me 3 months for a pre-sentence investigation, which is like what they're gonna like to see if I'm eligible for probation, because he ignored all my shit, like I told you. I mean, I
thought Peter was gonna show you how to 1099 them.
I did 1099 the court. I 1099 the court back in December, and then in January I sent out a 3949A. And I also, what else? But here's what I'm thinking is I was in jail when I sent that 3949A, so I don't know if the corrections officers fucking sent it out for me, because they were because they're just that shady, you know. I'm in Nebraska in a small town, so these guys are all the good old boy system, you know.
Yeah.
And they don't like me. I'm not a bad guy, but they don't like to see me. They think I got away. I don't know what the hell they think. They don't want no one to get away, right? You know, they think they want to keep that control. But it's it's been a ride. You talked to Pito?
I wish.
I talk to him occasionally. He's been helping me.
Dude, I didn't get into his group until he was already disappearing.
Oh yeah, he's working on his stuff. I gotta call him up and see what the next move is. I might just send out another 3949A, and I was gonna send it out to Ogden and Fresno, because I sent it out to Fresno, which was what the address said. But then Pito said to send it out to Utah also, which I should probably send it to the commissioner for. You know what I mean? It is probably better to notice.
I'm trying to see if I can hire him. Like, no bullshit, because me and my uncle, he's going. They're fucking screwing him on a fucking foreclosure, dude. He's about to lose fucking 30 acres and a really fucking nice house that he built himself from the ground up, dude. And he's got fucking.
Is he still in it?
No, he's out of it. He's appealing.
Yeah, but is he in the house still?
No, he's not. No, they kicked out of the house. They sold it.
Yeah.
And we've been.
So they already bought it then, right?
The information in court that it's all been illegal the whole time, but the guy that we're working with is a retired contract attorney.
Yeah.
And he's got 30 years under his belt of fighting against the state and proving fraud and getting people. Like, he's got at least 15, 20 people houses in the area that we know of by wiping their mortgages.
He's been successful then?
He's been successful a bunch of times. We've seen it. And for some reason, they're fucking railroading us. They know who he is. They know who my uncle is. They know who I am.
So, yeah, they're going to do you like they did me. They're going to make you walk that line. Yeah, I got to figure out what I did wrong. I'm pretty sure I need to refile it and do the certificate of mailing. That's all I can think of. But I still got to call Pito. We're going to brainstorm over it. He's probably got some good ideas for sure. I know he does.
I hate to ask, but if there's any way you can, drop my name or anything, I'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I'll see how he's doing. I know he was really busy last time I talked to him.
Well, I am. Yeah,
I appreciate the class, man.
I just need a little guidance. Nothing, just point in the direction.
Have you guys went to the county recorder and got his original deed? Have you filed
I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's at with that part of the process. I wasn't around when it all started, so I don't know. And I let him kind of handle that between him and his.
Is he a secured party? Is he? Did he file the UCC1 and do any paperwork, or is he just
Yes,
fighting
we
this
were
foreclosure?
both secured party before he got pulled out of the house.
Yeah. Did he lien the house with the UCC1? He should have done that with the meets and bounds. I know that.
Yeah, it was already listed under the general. The house itself, the deed and whatnot, was not listed, but it was covered under our general terms of things covered under the lien.
Yeah, you should file a separate UCC1 for just
Yeah,
the house.
he was getting ready to when it all happened, and then that stopped the whole process because they fucking pulled him out of the house.
Yeah, he could still file the lien. No one's got a superior lien than him.
So he could still file a lien. He could still file a UCC1 on the house separately.
I would, for sure. You got to get some kind of interest in it besides what you got. That's like showing your authority. You know what I mean? Because it goes out everywhere. Once you record that lien, someone would have to go against you on it, I would think. No one else has got a security interest, I would think. Not one that will hold water. They're gonna write an affidavit to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you have your word in first, first come, first serve. I think that's how it goes. But I know he needs to probably lien that house so he has an interest in it. And the deed, because that deed is the money, and they already took that and monetized that.
Right.
So they already made money off you. They owe you, or they owe your uncle for sure.
Yeah, for me, I'm just trying to get my son back because my ex-wife has kept me from him for the last 7 years. He's trying to fucking reach out to me. He's 14 years old. She told him
exactly how I got into this stuff because they won't let me see my son.
Yep, that's me. That's me.
Exactly, bro.
He called me up this Christmas, and he's like, he wanted to change his name, and I'm like, boy, you don't know what you have.
What you smoking, son? You better calm down.
Nah, then I broke down the history of the family. I was like, you got to understand why your grandpa named me John Kennedy and why I named you after me. I was like, our family has been fighting the Rothschild family and the English Empire for well over 500 years.
Yeah, we don't sit down, no?
We're documented all the way back to Ireland, baby.
Hell yeah.
Even in France, we were fighting them.
See, it's just something about it. Some people got it, and some people just don't get it at all.
It's in my blood.
Sit down, yeah, it ain't in my blood to sit down and just let things happen. Especially if I got something I can do, But good game. They pulled a good one.
Yeah, they did. They got away with it for a long time.
It was a real decent move. I appreciate it. But I mean, yeah, I'm just getting to understand a lot of stuff. I was in Pito's class a little bit, but I met Pito.
Yeah, I've seen you in the videos.
Yeah, I was in Gene Keating's class with him.
Oh yeah.
And I was in Keating's class for a couple years, so I've been exposed to a lot of really awesome information.
Really in depth. So you probably way more in depth than me.
Yeah, I know what I was just, he was a really good teacher, and them classes were packed with info. Man, I still watch them every day. So yeah, it was they're fuck. That's why the foreclosure thing. I know it's you just like anybody in court. We've already got to win. We got to get there.
Yeah.
Them fuckers, they're hiding that shit. But I got it. I got my case personally dismissed last year in county court. It didn't even make it past the arraignment, and then they refiled it in district court. And then I got this judge right here that I was telling you about, and it's just been it's been interesting, to say the least. I've been in jail a lot. I'll tell you that.
That sucks.
That fucker, man. Yeah, it does suck, but I mean, I guess this is the road, bro.
It is, though.
It is. Like, they're not going to give it to you easy, and they definitely ain't going to give it to me. But I don't mind. But I appreciate you reading this one. I got the other two books. I don't have this workbook.
Yeah, I like this little workbook. I'm not gonna read out the listing of the subsections.
Yeah.
This time, like I did the first time, just because it's going to eat time, and everybody's going to have a copy of the documents. And so that's for y'all's purpose. I'll just start at the short title.
Yeah. No, it definitely helps people. Like right here, I'm in Nebraska. There's nobody I know that studies anything remotely close to this. Like my
Yep.
brother was interested in it for a while, but then, he's just, it's hard. It's hard not to be like everyone else. I mean, not like you're not trying to be like everyone else, but,
I know it's yeah, like I got people at work that call me absolutely crazy.
I'd accept that from them. I get the same thing, but I've seen it in the black and white. So,
And exact same thing I said. And you know what? I hit a turning point about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I got that TDA account number.
Oh yeah, I got one of them. Yeah.
I ain't got the hard lock out yet.
Me neither. I still, every time I can go down to Fidelity. I have an account with Fidelity, and they were gonna do it for me, but then they wanted all these forms of ID, and I don't really have that much ID. They wanted me to have a credit card. I never had a credit card, so I had to go get a debit card with my name and expiration date on it. And so yeah, I just got to run around on that. These local banks don't want to fucking sign nothing at all. All it is a signature guarantee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it also monetizes the piece of paper.
Right.
Because that stamp they give is like the okay,
Let's get back into this.
I get it where they think, if they don't have I remember one of the banks asked me if I had it funded already. They're just asking a bunch of questions, And he's like, I'm gonna get in trouble if it doesn't, have funds or whatever. But so he didn't end up signing it, nor did he call me back, loser. But yeah. I got that. I need to get that done for sure. I need to get that done. I need to offset some bills.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I know that we can do it without it, but that's
No,
the
you
other
want
thing.
to have everything set up,
Yep. That's the other thing I'm trying to get done real quick is just discharge child support, a couple other things so I can fucking breathe again. If I could discharge child support.
1099 my child support. Have you done that?
Huh?
1099A, the child support?
No, I heard about that. I'm not sure the process yet. So
Yeah, get their EIN.
so I'm trying to find somebody. I learned better. I'm a kinetic learner. My uncle and I are both a bit of kinetic learners.
Yeah.
Seeing it done and doing it, I'd rather go through the motions than.
I think Pito's got a class on it. Filling out the 1099A. He's got a class on it, and he goes through it. And
Does he have a website or something?
1099A or 1099.com, I think it was.
That's his website?
Yeah, 1099.com. And you can do all kinds of 1099s on there. You can't file everything, but I got my 1099A done on my court cases, and I think it's just like $3 or $4 each time you file one. But I mean, it's real convenient. It was really convenient. I think there's a guy here in Nebraska named Derek. I was going to try to get with too. He's been dealing with a lot of court stuff.
All right, Inky, you still there, man? I see you on mute. All right. Everybody ready? All right, we got dead air for a minute. All right, I'm just going to get it rolling. Part 1 of subsection 2. Short title, general construction and subject matter. Subsection 2-101, short title. This article shall be known and may be cited as Uniform Commercial Code sales. Subsection 2/102, scope. Certain security and other transactions excluded from this article. Unless the context otherwise requires, this article applies to transactions in goods. It does not apply to transactions which, although in the form of an unconditional contract to sell or present sale, is intended to operate only as a security transaction, nor does this article impair or repeal any statute regulating sales to consumers, farmers, or other specified classes of buyers. Subsection 2-103. Definitions and index of definitions. In this article, unless the context otherwise requires, a buyer means a person that buys or contracts to buy goods. B. Conspicuous. With reference to a term, means so written, displayed, or presented that a reasonable person against which it is to operate ought to have noticed it. A term in an electronic record intended to invoke a response by an electronic agent is conspicuous if it is presented in a form that would enable a reasonably configured electronic agent to take it into account or react to it without review of the record by an individual. Whether a term is conspicuous or not is a decision for the court. Conspicuous terms include the following. I, for a person, subsection A heading in capitals equal to or greater in size than the surrounding text, or in contrasting type, font, or color to the surrounding text of the same size or lesser size, and B, language in the body of a record or display in larger type than the surrounding text, or contrasting type, font, or color to the surrounding text of the same size, or set off from the surrounding text of the same size by symbols or other marks that call attention to the language, and 2, for a person or electronic agent, a term that is so placed in a record or display that the person or electronic agent may not proceed without taking action with respect to the particular term. C, consumer, means an individual who buys or contracts to buy goods that, at the time of contracting, are intended by the individual to be used primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. D, consumer contract, means the contract between the merchant, seller, and consumer. E, delivery, means a voluntary transfer of physical possession or controlled goods. F, electronic, means relating to technology having electrical, digital, magnetic, wireless, optical, electromagnetic, or similar capabilities. G, electronic agent, means a computer program or an electronic or other automated means used independently to initiate an action or to respond to electronic records or performances in whole or in part without review or action by an individual. H, electronic record, means a record created, generated, sent, communicated, received, or stored by electronic means. Foreign exchange transaction means a transaction in which one party agrees to deliver a quantity of a specified money or unit of account into consideration of the other party's agreement to deliver another quantity of different money or unit of account either currently or at a future date, and in which delivery is to be through funds transfer, book entry accounting, or other form of payment order, or other agreed means to transfer a credit balance. The term includes a transaction of this type involving two or more monies and spot forward, option, or other products derived from underlying monies and any combination of these transactions. Let me start that sentence over again. The term includes a transaction of this type involving two or more monies and spot. Okay. Forward, option. Okay, I got you. All right. The term does not include the transaction involving two or more monies in which one or both of the parties is obligated to make physical delivery at the time of contracting or in the future of banknotes, coins, or other forms of legal tender or specie. Reserved. Okay. Just reserved. Good faith means honesty in fact and the observance of reasonable commercial standards of fair dealing. Legislative note: the definition of good faith should not be adopted if the jurisdiction has not enacted this definition as part of Article 1. Goods means all the things that are movable at the time of identification to a contract for sale. The term includes future goods, specially manufactured goods, the unborn young of animals, growing crops, and other identified things attached to realty as described in Section 2-107. The term does not include information, the money in which the price is to be paid, investment securities under Article 8, the subject matter of foreign exchange transactions, or chooses in transactions. Receipt of goods means taking physical possession of the goods. Record means information that is inscribed on a tangible medium for that or that is stored in an electronic or other medium that is retrievable or perceivable in perceivable form. Legislative note: the definition of record should not be adopted if the jurisdiction has enacted revised Article 1. Remedial promise means a promise by the seller to repair or replace goods or refund all or part of the price of goods upon the happening of a specified event. Seller means a person that sells or contracts to sell the goods. Signs means with present intent to authenticate or adopt record. I gotta close this page here. This thing's bugging me. To execute or adopt a tangible symbol, or to attach or to logically associate with the record of an electronic sound, symbol, or process. Other definitions apply to this article or specified parts thereof, and the sections in which they appear are acceptance, Section 2-606. Between merchants, Section 2-104. Cancellation, Section 2-106, subsection 4. Commercial unit, Section 2-105. Conforming to contract, Section 2-106. Contract for sale, Section 2-106. Cover, Section 2-712. Entrusting, Section 2-403. Financing agency, Section 2-104. Future goods, Section 2-105. Goods, Section 2-103. Identification, Section 2-501. Installment contract, Section 2-612. Lot, Section 2-105. Merchant, Section 2-104. Person in position of seller, Section 2-707. Present sale, Section 2-106. Sale, Section 2-106. Sale on approval, Section 2-326. Sale on return, Section 2-326. Termination, Section 2-106. 3. Control, as provided in Section 7-106, and the following definitions in other articles apply to this article. Check Section 3-104F. Consignee, Section 7-102, subsection 3. Consignor, Section 7-102, subsection 4. Consumer goods, Section 9, Section 9-102, subsection A, subsection 23. Dishonor, Section 3-502. Draft, Section 3-104, subsection E. Honor, Section 5-102, subsection A, subsection 8. Injunction against honor, subsection 5-109, subsection B. Letter of credit, Section 5-102, subsection A, subsection 10. 4. In addition, Article 1 contains general definitions and principles of construction and interpretation applicable throughout this article. 2-104 definitions. Merchant, between merchants, and financing agency. 1. Merchant means a person that deals in goods of the kind or otherwise holds itself out by occupation as having knowledge or skill peculiar to the practices or goods involved in the transaction, or to which the knowledge or skill may be attributed by the person's employment of an agent or broker or other intermediary that holds itself out by occupation as having the knowledge or skill. 2. Financing agency means a bank, a finance company, or other person that in the ordinary course of business makes advances against goods or documents of the title, or that by arrangement with either the seller or the buyer intervenes in ordinary course to make or collect payment due or claimed under the contract for sale, by purchasing or paying the seller's drafts or making advances against it, or by merely taking it for collection, whether or not documents of title accompany or are associated with the draft. The term includes also bank or other person that similarly intervenes between persons that are in the position of seller and buyer in the respect to the goods. Section 2-207. Between merchants means in any transaction with respect to which both parties are chargeable with the knowledge or skill of merchants. 2-105 definitions. Transferability, future goods, lot, commercial unit. 1. Goods must be both existing and identified before any interest in them may pass. Goods that are not both existing and identified are future goods. A purported present sale of future goods or any other interest or any interest therein operates as a contract to sell. 2. There may be a sale as part of an interest in existing identified goods. 3. An undivided share in an identified bulk of fungible goods is sufficiently identified to be sold, although the quantity of bulk is not determined. Any agreed proportion of the bulk, or any quantity thereof agreed upon by number, weight, or other measures, may, to the extent of the seller's interest in the bulk, be sold to the buyer, that then becomes an owner in common. 4. Lot means a parcel or single article in which a subject matter of separate sale or delivery, whether or not it is sufficient to perform the contract. 5. Commercial unit means such a unit of goods by commercial usage in a single or whole is a single or whole. Commercial unit means such a unit of goods as by commercial usage is a single whole for purposes of sale and division of which materially impairs its character or value on the market or in use. A commercial unit may be a single article as a machine or a set of articles as a suite of furniture or an assortment of sizes, or quality as a bale, gross, or carload, any other unit treated in use or the relevant market as a single whole. Here we go. Two 106 definitions. Contract, agreement, contract for sale, sale, present sale, conforming to contract, termination, cancellation. 1. In this article, unless the context otherwise requires contract and agreement, are limited to those relating to the present or future sale of goods. Contract for sale includes both the present sale of goods and a contract to sell the goods at a future time. A sale consists in the passing of a title from the seller to the buyer for price. Section 2-401. A present sale means a sale in which is accomplished by the making of the contract. 2. Goods or conduct including any part of a performance are confirming or conform to the contract when they are in accordance with the obligations under the contract. Termination occurs when either party, pursuant to a power created by the agreement or laws, puts an end to the contract, otherwise than for its breach. On termination, all obligations which are still executory on both sides are discharged, but any right based on prior breach or performance survives. Cancellation occurs when either party puts an end to the contract for breach by the other, and its effect is the same as that of termination, except that the canceling party also retains any remedy for breach of the whole contract or any unperformed balance. 2-107. Goods to be severed from reality or from realty recording. Reality. That'd be nice. A contract for the sale of minerals or the like, including oil and gas, or a structure of its materials to be removed from realty, is a contract for the sale of goods within this article if they are to be severed by the seller, but until severance a purported sale thereof, which is not effective as a transfer of an interest in land, is effective only as a contract to sell. Okay. A contract for the sale, apart from the land, of growing crops or other things attached to realty and capable of severance without material harm thereto, but not described in subsection 1, or of timber to be cut, is a contract for the sale of goods within this article, whether the subject matter is to be severed by the buyer or by the seller, even though it forms part of the realty at the time of contracting, and the parties can by identification effect a present sale before severance. 3. The provisions of this section are subject to any third-party right provided by the law relating to reality record. Why do I keep doing that? 3. Provisions of this section are subject to any third-party rights provided the law relating to the realty records, and the contract for sale may be executed and recorded as a document transferring an interest in land, and shall then constitute notice to third parties of buyer's rights and under the contract for sale. Subsection 2-108. We're probably going to call it good for the night right there, because my throat's getting sore. It's 9 o'clock. I got to get up early for bed. That's not really the issue. It's more my throat than anything. I want to be able to do this the rest of the week. So we're going to stop it right there.
Thank you for reading, John.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry, man.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm just having a hard time getting it out and not stopping. Plus, I'm falling asleep over here. Fucking.
Now go to bed, brother.
I see realty, and I keep wanting to say reality because I don't think I'm in it right now.
You left the zone, bro.
I did though. Like some good info in here. I've skimmed over these articles before, and I've never really like delved into them too much. I've only like really gone into anything that like pertained to something I was looking into at the time. You know what I mean? So doing this,
right on.
doing this is a good little exercise. And then
Yeah,
plus
definitely.
the other 2 books that I'm gonna do, like I feel like it's something that we've been needing in our groups for a long time.
Oh, and them 2 books are the ones too.
What's that?
Both them books are really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt.
Really good.
Yeah. Especially, and the funny thing is, I had a state and trust administration like months and months ago, like before I even heard of pedo, and I
Yeah.
started digging into it, and I threw it down. I was like, you know what? This book is coming at trust from a whole different angle than what I have to deal with them like, and it was pissing me off because I would read it a certain way.
Yeah.
And it made me so mad, and so I just threw the fucking book down, and I didn't look at it for I don't know how long. And then I saw Pedo put it up in his video, and I'm like, you know what? It's time.
Yeah, definitely suggest that one. What was it? And that secured transactions for the practitioner is awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I've only been able to get into that book a few times, but each time, man, it just lays it out there.
I can't wait to dig into that one, like really dig into it.
That's gonna be boss right there.
Because seriously, with this man, he wasn't kidding when
What's that?
he wasn't kidding when he said this was a life changer.
It is. It definitely changed my life. I mean,
just in the first like couple of fucking pages that I read, man, like I'm like, oh, I'm in for some good reading on this.
Yeah, it really points you in the right direction.
Have you gotten any remedy on anything? Have you done any discharging?
I haven't discharged anything yet. I'm still getting everything lined up.
Yep.
Like I said, I need to get that signature guarantee, send that out, put a bunch of notices out, like you're saying. But everyone needs to be noticed. You're right. And yeah, the only thing I had that success is when I got that case dismissed. But then they refiled it in a different, they changed the charges though, because I did the other one without prejudice, so they had to change the charges. Because before they were trying to get me in a school zone because they pulled me over by a park. So then they're trying to get me for selling in a school zone. I was like, you guys are nuts. But yeah. So they changed it just to distribution. But yeah, so that was my only success, just that dismissal. But but being in court and having that experience, it lets you know it's real. Especially after you get to know a few things.
Oh yeah, that's like when I got my first driving without a license booted.
Yeah, that's what my initial charge is.
I don't think I was even secured yet. I had attempted to file a few times, at least at that point I think it was twice. They failed, obviously.
Yeah.
But so the dude wrote me a ticket because I had a motorized bike that I built, right? I had an 80cc engine on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have far to go for work, you know what I mean? I was a small town, so I went down to the mill to work, and it was like fucking 2.5 miles to my house. I just didn't feel like walking on cold days, so I had my little pull start motor. And
not?
Little asshole fucking and this was the funny thing. He's a constable.
Oh wow.
He's a constable. I'm like, what the fuck you doing on American soil, faggot?
Right?
Constables don't belong on American soil. That's a British fucking title, bitch. So don't fucking try to pull me over. I was like, and he didn't like me. He didn't like me at all. I was like, I don't even need a fucking license for this shit. I was like, even if I was required to have a license because it's a bigger vehicle, I wouldn't need a license. But for this, I really don't need a license. I was like,
make some money that day.
I was like, you show me, or he was like, I'll show you right where it says in the statute book. I was like, okay, show me. I'm on my lunch break. I ain't got nothing to do. I pull up to his car, right? And because I'm pulled over, so I just kind of scoot over. And I stick my head in the window, and I'm watching him thumb through his book. And I sat there for a good hour until he got another call. And he said, you wait right here. And I said, okay. He left. I went home. I called the sheriff's department. I said, yeah, this constable, I don't know who he is, but he thinks he's got some sort of authority. But last I knew, constables don't have authority on American soil. I said, he stopped me for driving without a license on such and such road, and I got to get back to work. And he just left to go on a call. I was like, can you call him and tell him that I'm going back to where I need to be? And if he wants to discuss this any further, he knows where to find me. I said, yeah, okay, we can do that. So I went up about my business, and I'm back at home eating my lunch. My boss calls me. He's like, my boss calls me. What's going on? Da, 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 where are you at? I'm like, oh, I got pulled over, so I'm just now getting to the house. He's like, what? Just now? He's like, it's been an hour. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I get ready to go out there, and the fucking constable pulls up into my fucking driveway.
What do you have to say?
I'm like, do you have a ticket for me or anything? I was like, because you couldn't find anything to charge me with.
Yeah.
So he hands me the driving without a license ticket. And I laughed at him. I just laughed at him. I laughed at him pretty hard, too. And he fucking grimaced his ass off and fucking walked away. And then I just drove back over there. Right in front of him.
Your vehicle?
Yep, right in front of him.
Oh, yeah, fuck that.
And
that's what it gets for being a prick.
yeah, so then I go into court. It was the day of that it said on the ticket, and instead of going to the clerk or anything, I went directly into the DA's office. And I asked to talk to the DA from the secretary. He's like, what's this about? And I was like, well, I got this ticket, and I don't understand any of this.
Yeah.
I said, I'm an idiot. I don't get any.
What'd they tell you?
Case dismissed. Go
What?
home. They didn't even let me in the courtroom. She went and said exactly what I said to the DA. The DA said, go home.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, you got to know the right things to say.
I did that completely. Like, I had no idea what I was going to say going in. I was so fucking nervous. I'm like,
you're an idiot. It's a good thing to be an idiot, I guess.
Right? Well, because I remember hearing in a Sovereign video somewhere that if you tell a judge that you're an idiot, it's actually got a legal term that puts you outside of their jurisdiction somehow. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to look it up again, but I did that, and
I have to look into that.
It worked. I don't know if that. I can't say for sure if that's what did it, or if the DA just saw the whole thing and was just like, fuck it, I'm done. What the fuck?
You're right.
You know,
more of them should do that.
Right.
They should give up before it gets bad, because eventually we're gonna have recoupment, and everything, and they're gonna have.
I'm feeling bad because the people that don't know this, that don't know what's actually going on, when those people get fed up, it's gonna be heads getting chopped off in the middle of the street.
I don't think. I get the feeling though. I remember when I first learned this, I was pretty pissed off.
Well, me too.
I was pissed for like 3 weeks straight.
See, for me, it all made sense. Like, right off the top, it all made sense. Because it was like, how do you explain all of this mass amount of power everywhere and nothing ever?
Yeah, and there's a lot of intelligent people around. And
right, and my thought process was, well, fuck, if I'm thinking about this kind of shit, what the fuck is other people thinking of?
I just always never saw the court system as my God. So it's for them to judge me and punish me. It was always just, even as a young child, I was just like, see, that's just wrong. You just can't take people from other people, and they're nobodies, and they're just like running over people. So when I became an adult, I always knew I was gonna end up having to dig into this law shit. because I want to be free. I want to do, be left alone.
Seriously.
Sure.
I just want to be able to go about my business.
Yeah, I don't mean no harm nowhere. I just want to be left alone, and there's a lot of good people I've seen hurt, and then they just struggle through it and they end up dying, and it's just it's the rat. This is a big circular rat race. I don't know. It's weird. But I mean, you watch it happen if you pay attention, and a lot of people,
it's
I ain't
sad.
gonna lie, I didn't pay attention for a long time.
You get to a point, it's sad, but you get to a point where you actually have to start blocking it out.
Yeah, you do.
Because you're absorbing so much that it actually starts physically affecting you.
Yeah, the negativity's everywhere, and it's not everyone's, people aren't bad people, people aren't bad.
No,
but
everybody's indoctrinated to something different.
Sure. Oh yeah, and they're proud of that shit. It gets hard. The fuckers, they're real prideful, and it's I almost don't talk to people about it no more because I don't want to. They get a bad taste in their mouth. They think you're.
See, I'm lucky. I live in a pretty woke area. The job that I have, which hopefully will become a business that I purchase, it's called Harvest Time. It's a holistic health food and supplements, organic food. We have a 8-foot wall of every possible fresh herb you could imagine, dried.
Oh man!
And the prices are amazing, dude. I see people walk in and drop $10 on herbs, and they walk out with $150 worth of herbs that you would get anywhere else.
Wow! Is it all grown locally?
No, not all of it, because some of them are really rare herbs from outside of the U.S.
Right on.
Yeah. No, it's a dope spot. The only thing is the downside to it is it's still very analog, which it's not a downside. I love it. I love the fact that it's analog, but the customers hate it, and the operation of it to make the store as efficient as it could be isn't working. The analog registers leave too much room for error, too much room for embezzlement.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So when I'm there, I'm at the front desk, and all day long I'm teaching people about using the proper herbs, using the proper essential oils, the proper vitamins, the proper minerals. I talk about Dr. Sebi, and I talked about Dr. Simonichi, and I talk about MMS, and I talk about colloidal silver. I make colloidal silver myself. I'd make my own soaps that I put colloidal silver and MMS in, and I also do them in the chakra molds, and I put a gemstone that matches each chakra in the soap, and then I do a Reiki session.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, my soap is the fucking shit, dude. You want to get fucking clean and disinfected, my soap will fucking do it. And it'll clean your fucking chakras.
Where are you out of?
I live in Maine.
Nice. You're way out on the East Coast, bro.
Yeah. I'm originally from Arizona, though.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
It was back and forth. So my mom brought me out to Maine when I was 4. I went back to Arizona. I was 8. I stayed out there with my pops till I was 16. I came out here for a year when I was 16. Tried to get work. Wasn't happening. Because I dropped out freshman year. I wasn't having that indoctrination bullshit. I got into too many fights, and I punched too many teachers, and nah.
Well, maybe they weren't teaching.
So I dropped out my freshman year and tried to go to work out here in Maine. That didn't work out, so I went back to Arizona and started hustling.
Nice.
Never mind, I forgot we're recording.
Yeah. I'm sure things are fine.
But Yeah. Well, you know what? Fuck it. It's legal now. They're gonna be. I was getting chronic brought in by these two essays that I knew, homeboys. They was cousins.
Nice.
And they owned a car detail shop in Phoenix.
Right.
And they had it was a dope spot too. And then they had this nice little. It was a split floor plan, so it was the same house, but flipped, and then they built them together.
Oh wow!
Right. So it was two houses built into one house, the exact same floor plan, kind of like a townhouse, but it was a big ass fucking house, and it was up in the fucking foothills. And it was funny because they did everything alike because they looked alike, and they got teased a lot because people thought they were twins. So you walk into their houses, and both of them in the front of their houses, they had a fucking 50 cal sitting on fucking tripods. It's just this big ass fucking entryway, right? Just a big square room, fucking tile floor, and right in the middle of it, you got a fucking 50 cal fucking rifle just sitting pointed, aimed at the fucking front door.
Damn.
I was just like, fuck. So they used to get these, those big, huge industrial dump trucks that they use for mining, the big fucking.
Yeah.
They would get twice a year a tire, one of those big fucking wheels with the rim still on it, right? Filled with fucking brickweed.
They
would sell me the fucking shake from that shit for $50 a fucking pound.
Wow.
Just to fucking get rid of it. Because they had so much left over after it was fucking traveling and shit.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I sat on the fucking bus all day selling joints. Like, I paid my rent. That bought my pager. That bought my phone. Bought my bus card. I didn't worry about nothing. Took me to the club. My girlfriend was a stripper. Got her apartment. Like,
it's always fun.
And then I got into some shit I shouldn't have got into and decided, it's probably not a good place to be. So I moved back to Maine.
Right.
And I've been
Arizona's dangerous.
Huh?
Arizona's dangerous.
It is. It is.
No doubt.
I love it though. I was shot twice. No, shot once, shot at twice, and one time it hit me.
Damn it.
Yeah, fucking thing. It's all right though. It was just a little PP or 22. It was nothing. A little shoulder shot with a 22 at a little bar fight, a little place up north in Camp Verde.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
Nah, it was nothing.
Shit happens.
Actually, the bottle that I broke with my fist was worse than the gunshot that I got at the same time. Like, it happened the same night.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because, dude.
All right, bro, I'll let you go.
He was yelling at his wife, and he smacked her in the face.
Yeah.
And I walked up, and I fucking punched him in the face, and he took his bottle, and he swung at me, and I fucking punched the bottle in mid-swing. And then he pulled his gun out, and he aimed at me, and my dad came out of nowhere because we were in the pool. My dad came out of nowhere and fucking hit his arm with a fucking pool stick, knocked his aim off, and he shot me in the shoulder because he was point blank. He was at my dome.
Damn.
Yeah, and he just my dad came out of nowhere, fucking superhero, just fucking Chuck Norris cowboy style. What-da! I'm like, this mother.
That's what you needed, though.
Yeah, saved my ass. He saved my ass so many fucking times. He dropped so much fucking knowledge about fucking estate shit on me and last name shit on me that I didn't even realize he was dropping until I started getting into the shit.
Wow.
My fucking I was what was it? 12? It was 11 or 12. I had a book report that I missed for school, and he made me stay in the whole summer because I missed one book report. And he made me write my signature 10,000 times. He made me create my own signature and write my signature 10,000 times. I didn't leave that fucking bedroom until it was done. I was there day and night except for mealtime.
He's trying to get you some discipline, bro.
Dude.
Oh, it was well needed.
Yeah, it is for this shit.
For this, for sure, bro. I've been This is my 3rd year, and I still feel like I don't know anything.
Bro,
but I got a lot of good direction, though.
I ain't been able to get,
But I put a lot of years into other shit that didn't get me nowhere, so I don't mind.
I did that too.
So I got to look at it that way. I've invested more time in worthless stuff. So
once I really started figuring it out, I made some big moves fast with the help of my uncle. Now we're just at the point where, like, all right, we're secured. Now we just got to perfect that security and fucking learn how to operate it.
Bond in with the Secretary of State?
The private registered bond? Yeah, they got all that.
Okay.
My shit's cured.
Yeah, I don't know if I still need to do some of that stuff.
Huh?
I still need to do some of that stuff.
Is there?
I got that legal notice in with the Secretary of State.
Huh?
I got the legal notice in with the Secretary of State.
Yep.
The one you're talking about.
Yep.
That last year.
I heard Peter was talking about bonds in the military videos that you were in. That would be sent out. Is that the one specific that he was talking about, or were there multiple bonds to send out?
Well, there's a bond you can. You want to send them off to a few different people. I believe it says it in the video. I'm not sure which one. I know it's.
I sent mine to. For me, it was Mel Bacosta and Jacob Liu.
Yeah. That's good.
And then
you need to send one to the Secretary of State of your own state.
Right, I did the Secretary of State in my state. And then there was some computer reporting agency or some shit.
Yeah, so you're in a good place. Because them will be, because I'm sure they're cured by now, so you could do some offset with them.
Oh, yeah, because I did that in 2016.
Yeah, so they're cured and ready. They're waiting for you.
Yeah.
I know it only takes 90 days after, you get your green card back. You're guaranteed they're cured.
So it's funny because my uncle sent his in at the same time as me, and the Secretary of State sent him something back saying that they don't deal in private trusts.
Did he send the same exact thing?
Huh?
Did he do exactly the same way you did it?
Yeah.
Is he in a different state?
No.
Did he send it registered return receipt?
Everything.
Huh. Well, they kept his contract though, didn't they?
They kept everything.
Yeah, well then they're just BSing.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said they're blowing smoke. They accepted it.
Yeah, they accepted it unless they sent it back saying they didn't accept it.
Right.
I mean, and even if then they have to send you back your instrument.
Right. Which they kept the instrument. So.
Yeah. So it's filed. It's in a it's filed. I think they got a file on you. They make a file or something.
Oh, sure.
Or they've had one. For sure. All right, man. I'll let you get to it. You have a good night, John.
Yeah, man. You too, brother.
It was nice meeting you, man.
Yeah, same here, man. Inky, I don't know if you're still on, brother, but you have a good night too. Y'all take care. Same time next week. Well, maybe not same time, but we'll figure it out if they ever let me post on there again. Motherfuckers. Peace.
How to shut this down?